Nocturnal waves of briny demise tossed the ship to and fro, the wind of the open sea tugging at the sails of this vessel, crewed by starving men. The grog had all but run dry, and the biscuit had become a castle full of worms. Their hope was fleeting, and their appetites had driven them against each other. The captain of this motley crew of once dedicated privateers hid away in his quarters, in fear of becoming the next meal of his crew. They were lost at sea, with no hope of finding the way back. Dry land was but a destination within his dreams, as the bellies of his own men were sure to be his tomb. He stared down at his last bit of hardtack, stamped with the visage of the woman he once called queen, knowing that nothing within her power could bring them home. Pounding at the door of his quarters startled him, dropping his biscuit.
Captain Ludlow Artemis, your crew demands your presence on the main deck at once.
In this moment, all his fears were realized. There was nowhere else to hide.
Come out now, or be brought out by hand.
Little time was given to him as the door to his quarters crashes down, a group of men rushing to grab him. They dragged him into the salty night, onto the ship's deck, where a noose, hanging from the ship's rigging, awaited him. All of the crew was present for his ascension to his hempen halter. He put up no fight, much to their disappointment. As he was adorned with his new neckpiece, the ship came to a crashing halt. Rocks in the middle of the ocean. No land in sight, yet their vessel was run ashore. Seawater began to fill the interior of the ship, rapidly causing her to plunge into the briny deep. The men began to scatter for the lifeboats, grabbing what was left of their rotten food and now soaking supplies. The captain, left to hang for his negligence to his crew, managed to slide out of his noose, as the rising waters lifted him from his most certain fate. He managed to save himself upon the same rocks that scuttled his vessel. He grabbed what he could from the wreckage: a wet pistol, some rope, a random assortment of broken boards, anything he could get his desperate hands on. He sat upon his empire of loot, upon the craggly rocks in the salty sea, beneath the darkened moon, desolate, starving. His mind wandered back to that last biscuit he once despised, now wishing to hold it in his hands once more. A beautiful voice called to him. He spun around to find not a person, but a faint glow coming from the depths of the sea. He cautiously leaned over the rocks to seek the source of these lights. A similar, soothing voice beckoned. His ears began to ring as the lights began to grow brighter and brighter, and the ringing louder and louder. An angelic ensemble began to sing just for him. Oh, how sweet the tune. Suddenly, across his view, the figure of a woman appeared. Was it his queen, whom he had faithfully served, come to save him? His mother, who had paddled all this way to give him comfort in his time of tragedy? Was it an angel, sent from heaven to guide him into the great beyond? Her song became all he could hear. His name rolled across her lips in sinister perfection as she called him out to sea. Another voice from behind him began to call his name as well. Another woman, just as beautiful, if not more so than that at the last. And another, and another. Their chorus astounded and perplexed him, as the feigning memory of the dangers of Sirens all but left his head. Surrounded by maidens fair with songs to set a man's own heart ablaze, he fell to his knees on the rocky crag, being pulled from all directions by desire, for comfort, for safety, for the love of a beautiful woman in his time of need. The shimmering lights from beneath the surface ceased as the moon hid behind the clouds, leaving him in pitch black darkness, with only the ocean and the overwhelming chorus to flood his senses. The singing voices began to diminish, one by one, dropping their notes, their distant silhouettes diving beneath the water. Soon, he was left in the darkness, with only the sound of the sea to remind him of where he was. A gentle splashing of water interrupted his dark silence. He was no longer alone on the rocks. A beautiful humming came from the presence now behind him. Hypnotized, he turned to his new master. More of her kind swarmed Captain Artemis's island of rocks, humming in unison as he marched directly into the sea. His heavy boots sank into the salty water. His hat floated off his head as he walked into the deep. Their voices filled his ears with song and his heart with bliss, as salt water drew his own blood into his lungs. Overcome by hypnotic love and desire, he did not care as the sirens sank their teeth into his flesh, tearing him apart, turning the surrounding waters into a blood-red mist, each beautiful monster taking as much of him as they could and fighting over the morsels of a man who once commanded ships. Captain Ludlow Artemis, once commended by the Queen, now captain of the bellies of Sirens.